Introducing a functional fitness bit performed by professor and doctor and functional fitness trainer and kinesiologist Alexander Rodriguez, and some random people he picked up on the street to help him with it. Hello class, I'm going to be your functional fitness trainer, Alexander Rodriguez. While I would like to teach this functional fitness lesson in a more traditional manner, I know that won't be enough to capture your millennial attention spans, which I'm sure are very short. So I've decided to do this in a review setup instead. So, a question you may ask is, what the hell is functional fitness training? So, first and foremost, functional fitness isn't going to be any arbitrary movement or any sort of deadlift or anything that looks unnatural. Functional fitness is stuff you'd see people doing in everyday life, like lifting things up off the ground using their legs or walking up and down stairs, things sort of like that. Easy stuff. Simply telling you what functional fitness is isn't exactly going to teach you what it is, so I've decided to show you a few examples here. Our first example of functional fitness, we're going to have somebody going up and then back down the stairs. We're going to be working on a 5-star system here, and I would probably give this about a 5, because it is a movement you're going to be doing every single day. It's not that difficult, it's highly functional. Example of a dysfunctional movement would be one you wouldn't see in everyday life, like so. Not very normal, doesn't look very natural, it's kind of awkward and uncoordinated, just like that. This movement I'd give about a 2. It requires a lot of stamina. It's basically like you're doing cardio. It's not a very typical movement. People aren't going to be moving upstairs like this. It's just not a very functional movement overall. Next, I'll be showing you how to lift things with your back and how not to move things when you've already got them suspended in air.
It's actually pretty heavy for me. Okay, so this could be considered non-functional because I can't get it, right?
That's an example of a functional exercise, which would be a squat. This is something we use in everyday life to lift things, otherwise you use your back, which would be non-functional. While typically I would give this movement a 5 or a 4, I'm just going to give it a 3-star because Sasha sort of messed up picking up that trash can. Bad on you. This would be an example of a non-functional exercise. An ab twister, any oblique twisters, those are completely useless for everyday use. You're not just going to start randomly doing crunches on the beach or anything. This movement is highly dysfunctional and only serves to work out your abs and obliques, which aren't something you're really going to be using in everyday activity. So, I'd give it about maybe a 1. And lastly here, I'm going to be showing you how to raise your shoulders without using too much rotator cuff movement or without messing yourself up too bad. This is an example of an overhead raise. It's a movement that primarily uses your shoulders, and it's good for lifting or removing things from high places. We raise things over our head pretty often, so this movement probably gets a 4 just for basic functionality. It's quite boring though. This is an example of a squat and front shoulder raise variation. While it's a really good exercise, it's not functional in the least, and it's not something you'd see anybody doing during their daily activities. This movement just looks and is ridiculous. You have to activate almost every muscle in your body to do this. It's just completely pointless. It's highly dysfunctional. It's not something anybody's going to be doing on a regular basis. So I'd give it about a 1-star. I'd give it lower, but we're going to a 5-star system. Okay, yeah, 0 stars. 0 stars for this one. So those are basic functional fitness movements that you would do on a regular basis, stuff you wouldn't really strain yourself to do outright. If you guys have any questions for me, the expert on this subject, feel free not to ask them. This is my side job, so I don't really devote much time to it. Thank y'all for enjoying this content, though. I really appreciate it. Functional fitness trainer Alexander Rodriguez and his cohorts are not responsible for any injuries and or disabilities you may incur from performing any of these movements or exercises. Thank you for participating.